I'm going to go ahead and put down the seal. And again, we don't need the spacer because ours is a 1/4 inch above the actual floor. Just make sure that is seated well, so you've got a rubber seal on the bottom. And what's going to happen is when we run these bolts down, I got to get some of that grout out of those threads. When we run these bolts down in the toilet, it's going to press on this and seal that up. And you need to make sure you don't have one that's too wide. But this one is almost too long from here to here. So make sure you measure all that before you buy the toilet. We got lucky on this one. If it wasn't going to fit here, we were going to put it in the other bathroom where it would fit. Off the back, so you got to be careful how much you tighten these down, and I got also be careful, like when I press this down, it's going to be sitting on the toilet until I get it centered up, and I don't put too much pressure on that porcelain because it'll break. So this is going to hook up into the back part of the toilet and thread in. I'm going to do that first before I bolt this down. All right, so this one had an adapter so that you would have a smaller nut that kind of screws on there. Mine took the older one, the larger adapter, so I had to take that off. So this is the wax seal that came with the toilet. I don't like those. I'm still gonna save it in case we need it for something else. But the hardware to mount the toilet is here. So this one also came with a hardware kit. And it looks like it's got a little bit larger nut. Tighten that down. So I believe these will fit the hardware we already have in there. All right, underneath here, because you won't be able to see from the camera view, is this part is coming out from the flange. I'm placing down this and a washer over it. This is a 7/16 bolt. And I'm threading that down. I'm running this down by hand. As you can see, my hand will not fit in there. So I want to do as much as I can by hand, especially as you get down here lower. The ratcheting wrench is not going to work unless you have one with a swivel head, because you're going to start running into this porcelain here. You don't necessarily have to reach around to hold that in. You can thread this on, and slide that into place, and then you're going to pull against it as you tighten it down, and that'll keep it in place on the back side. So all I'm doing is pulling out on that to keep that anchor on the back side in place as I tighten this down. I'm going to take a small screwdriver. Don't want to do it too much because it's just a plastic bolt, but that looks like that is sealed up pretty good. It's hard to see from here, but I already turned the water back on through this valve. So I turned that all the way on and filled up the back of the tank. The back of the tank has filled up, and so now we can put the lid on. I'm going to go ahead, put the lid on. Now we can take the cover off the toilet and everything's good to go. Let's flush it again. Seal it up so if we get any kind of overflow, or if we get any kind of backup or smells, we kind of leave those in there and clean up some of this stuff before it dries. You can scratch this stuff away pretty easy, but we're going to do this all the way around the toilet. Alright, so we got the caulking in. We're going to remove all the other plastic and stuff off the seat, and we'll sweep that out and get it cleaned up, and we'll scratch away any caulking that may either be on the toilet or on the tile.